Hey, honey.
Yeah, what's up?
Hey, everybody. It's your boy Barista Fen, and this is retro. Reviews. I actually was saying it right this time. Review show where we go through my copious amounts of gaming books, magazines, other paraphernalia. A lot of it's all old, out of print stuff. Every once in a while, we'll throw something new in. But to keep me from rambling, we have Laura.
Hey everybody. So, to keep us on track, I'm going to ask a list of questions.
All right, fire when ready.
What are we reviewing tonight?
We are reviewing Dragon Magazine number 301, and I have to say this is one of my favorite cover arts in all of the Dragon magazines. Like the tattoo, the partial armor, or spiky hair, really cool.
Oh, very nice job with that.
Yeah.
And is this from the subscription?
This is from my subscription when I was subscribed to the magazine while I was in college, playing with my 3rd edition and 3.5 group.
Okay, do you want to give us a description of what's inside?
First article, right off the bat, is the Gary Gygax's column, Up on a Soapbox. He has the story of how one player was bent on going to the moon of Greyhawk, which is his personal D&D world. Also the same setting as the Living Greyhawk campaign. And how Herb the Sage built the PC, the character, a giant catapult, which burned up a massive supply of treasure and ended any future plans to go into space, because the guy's like, wait, I was hoping this guy was like building me like a spaceship or like a flying ship that would take me to the moon. It's like, no, man, I built you the world's largest catapult. Largest magical catapult. We can totally launch you to the moon. He's like, no.
So did they get...
No, he looked at it and he was just like, no, I am not going to be catapult. The character did not want to get catapulted to the moon. Which actually kind of backfired, because Gygax was planning to let the players, the party of adventurers, actually get to the moon and explore it. It just wasn't going to let them have a spaceship. Like,
that's kind of sad to think.
they just gave up, and he had all these notes for like how to explore the moon of Greyhawk, and he never used them. So it was like, yeah, we're gonna Wile E. Coyote you to the moon, but I'm not giving you a spaceship. He didn't want to open up Spelljammer that soon. So the next article is Swashbucklers. It's an article on playing swashbucklers of all classes and races, with suggestions on recommended prestige classes, skills, feats, notes on skills to make cinematic fights like swinging from the chandelier, log rolling, hiding your skill by bluffing. There's new feats like the single blade style, which if you're only fighting with one weapon, you get +2 to your dodge. Be able to snatch weapons when you disarm somebody, like all that cool Errol Flynn, Robin Hood, Men in Tights type, and Three Musketeer, the pirate movie, all that cool stuff that you can throw in there. I know that 2 of those were comedies that I listed. I like sword fights, and I like comedy sword fights. But yeah, so there's all sorts of cool new notes on swashbuckling gear, and also a section for the DMs on crafting a swashbuckling adventuring setting, which, yeah, I'm a big fan of. Anyways, Meter and Measure is an article on masterpiece performances, which are basically new bardic abilities that a bard can craft like a magical item. Some cool ways to make bard. Everybody kind of just thinks that bards are just like horny, like the horny murder hobos are just like, I'm just gonna go sleep with everybody and seduce the dragon. But this is like the bard being like, I'm a serious dancer. I must create the dance that I will be known forever for doing. And like they craft this magical or this perfect song that, you know, like Eddie's moment in, when he plays Master of Puppets in Stranger Things, like that beautiful, perfect performance piece of your life as a bard gives you a new cool ability that you can use every once in a while because you created something special that's unique to you. And it also has some examples of those for bards to go out and be like, I need to find this lost play and perform it, and I'll be able to do some really cool effects, or this, you know, find like the Song of Destiny kind of moment. From Field to Cauldron, it's alchemy begins in the forest. It's a list of 21 alchemical items that can be made from foraged herbs. Within growth, the ecology of a troll basically breaks down the life cycle, wealth, society, layers, and how to make effective encounters using trolls. Also notes for troll hunters and variations such as the smarter ice trolls, which I believe is a subtle nod to the writer Terry Pratchett, who wrote Good Omens. Co-wrote Good Omens. In his Discworld series, he had it where if you put a troll in a freezer, they become like Einstein level smart. When they're hot, they're dumb because in his world, trolls are silicon-based life forms. Mm-hmm. So their brains like overheat when they're too hot. So when you cool them down, their brains act like a supercomputer.
Weird.
Oh yeah. Ice trolls. Ice trolls are smart as hell.
As long as they're cold.
As long as they're kept cold. Guild Secrets is a column focusing on different adventuring guilds to use as either a guild that one of your party members is part of, or a organization to be the foes of a campaign. This month we have Claw of Gold. It's a thieves guild run by a half-dragon with the goal of creating a crime dynasty in which many of his lieutenants are his children. So it's like a half-dragon mob boss.
So half dragon, half what? Half
human.
Man? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's also the template for the Draconic template for Born of the Dragon Bloodline. So if you're not fully a half dragon, you're like a quarter dragon, it's got the template for that, and I've been looking around for where that template was because I knew I had a copy of it. Mm-hmm. Quarter dragons get like claws, low light vision, bonuses to strength and charisma, the intimidate and the spot abilities. Next is Tatha's Broomworks. It's maps and notes on a farm where a woman actually just makes brooms. And she has the ability to identify magical items. So a little place where you can stop and see the witch and get a magic broom and get your magical loot figured out. Be like, oh, that's a ring of this, and that's a cloak of that. And
that one's fake.
And that one's fake.
That's useful.
Or that one's cursed. Next up is Greyhawk's Beggars Union. The history of the Beggars Guild and the activities it does, such as cons and services. This got me thinking on setting up something like this in the future. I've always wanted to have like the beggar spy network that works throughout the city. So this is how to set that up to be able to locate things and scout around and pay them to get the information you're looking for. Also has some cool cons to pull on the PCs to set up some fun encounters. Basically, a little like distractionary stuff to be able to like steal something from them and send them off on we gotta go deal with the beggars. Dungeon Craft column is the next one up. It's prepared for large encounters. Some notes on handling large numbers of monsters like hordes or just even having like tons of players. I think the biggest game I ever played in or DM'd, we had like, I want to say there was 12 of us all hanging out. Like we summoned everybody to go to play this one big epic fight. And key takeaways: where you're dealing with a large group of people, give everybody something to do, even let some of the even let some of the other players who aren't doing anything right now. It's like, okay, I need you guys to roll some attacks for me, roll some d20s. Okay, roll some damage for me. Be able to delegate some stuff to some other people so they've got stuff to do at the time, because you don't want somebody checking out and getting bored. Lay out the scene in as much detail. Grab your minis and have like the terrain board set up. Like really go balls to the wall for an immersive setting, so everybody's kind of like on track and has their reference points. Because when you've got a big group and you start with one player, by the time you get around to everybody else, they might have lost an idea of like, okay, where is everybody? What's going on? There are some good visual clues. Use index cards, have the stats for NPCs and monsters right there on a card, so you don't have to keep flipping back and forth through your monster manual or your notebook. And if you're using spellcasters in this, have a cheat sheet of their tactics and spells that you plan them to use each round. So you're not kind of like looking at it going, what am I doing? Oh wait, no. First couple turn, he's going to cast a defensive spell. Next turn after that, he's going to, if there's a group of people all together, he'll blast his fireball. If they spread out, he'll use his magic missiles. And down the road like that. Next article is the DM's Toolbox column. The theme of that article is turning good games into great games. Tips on how to set the pace for an adventure. Because if you have the same kind of scenes back to back,
it's boring.
It's boring. So it's like alternate combat with non-combat encounters. So if you have a big fight, it's going to be high action. Have a slower paced scene where maybe they're scouting around a little bit or talking with some key NPCs in town. And vary the type of non-combat encounters as much as you can. You can do traps, you can do NPC interactions, you can do an information dump of somebody rolling a skill check in order to get an information dump. You can have visual descriptions, just a scene where you're just describing something to everybody. You can have riddles and puzzles. You can do a cutscene, which showing what the villains are up to, and even if you have like some scripts to hand out to everybody to read from, so that they have something to do, so you're not monologuing like I am right now. But I really feel that the cutscene is like an underused element in role-playing games. Like you let the players know a little bit of like, okay, the villains are up to something. What are they doing? You have that cutscene when they found out a little piece of information. They've investigated it, and you're like, okay, time for this cutscene. And you pass out the scripts, and everybody reads it like, oh, I knew this was happening. Or, oh crap, we gotta amp it up. These guys are way ahead of us. And another thing that you can do is just take a break. Take 5, potty break, get snack going. Do whatever you need to do. We used to have a little thing where halfway through our D&D night, when I was playing with my group, Tommy, Ed, and Rob, and Jen, and Zulu, and all of them, yeah, we get to the point where it's like, okay, we've been playing for 2 hours. All right, we're gonna take 15, because we did our marathon 4 hours a night, because we're still young, in our 20s. So we just take 15. People that partaked of nicotine would go get their nicotine. Other people go use the restroom, whip up a little food, have a little break. And the last article in the magazine is a Sage Advice. That's the monthly FAQ column to answer questions by players, because this is back before you really had a good internet and could just hop on Discord or anything and find the answers from the actual people at Wizards. So they ended up answering a bunch of magic-related like spell casting questions. So I will say, yes, a lightning bolt spell works normally underwater because it's magic. It's not going to be like, oh, I cast lightning bolt into the water and the electricity goes everywhere, because that's science. When you cast a lightning bolt underwater, that lightning bolt just goes where you want it to go. So
Magic lightning bolt.
It's a magic lightning bolt. Does not obey the laws of science. No, you can't fly underwater because you have to swim underwater. That's a logical thing there, where it's like you're not flying works in the air, and that magic is like you're underwater. You can't fly underwater. You have to swim. You can't cast a spell through a closed window because it is a barrier that blocks like the magic is like gets up to it and goes. It's a solid barrier. I can't go through this. You need to have an open window. As a rule of thumb, a petrified character, a character who's been turned to stone, is 2.5 times heavier than it was when it was made of flesh.
Logical.
Yep.
Okay, so which of these articles are you planning to keep?
Well, I like the Tabitha's Broomworks. It seems like a cool little NPC and little spot to use. The Guild Secrets, plan on using that. I'm debating between using this swashbuckling setup or using the All for One book that I have, which also deals with swashbuckling. So I might try to like blend the two of them together. And I definitely want to keep the article on the foraged herbs alchemy items. And I'm probably not gonna ever play a bard, but like crafting a masterwork performance just seems like the thing to do if I ever play a bard. So.
Okay. That's all my questions tonight.
Looking at all of cinema, and I'm counting cinema as like shows that were released directly to streaming services. What do you think is the most masterwork performance of any bard that we've seen in a fantasy sci-fi show? Leave that in the comment section down below. I will probably say Eddie's Master of Puppets was Chef's Kiss. But what do you think is the Chef's Kiss? Who was the best bard performance in all of sci-fi and fantasy? Let me know down below, and I will see you next week. Peace.
Bye, everybody. Hey, everybody. Thanks for staying till the end of the episode. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Follow us on Facebook at Board Barista Productions. And if you want to support us, Patreon link at the bottom.